I looked at the list and told that, well, saw that most of you came from the legal, financial, accounting, and a few from the cultural sector. I thought I'd be in very good place when I needed to manage the investment made in me as a competitor and how I managed the legacy of the economic benefits of winning gold medals. At the end of the day, Sam said that I will inspire you and I will slightly scare you and unnerve you and take you out of your comfort zone, because that's what I do. I engage people, I hopefully inspire them, but more importantly, motivate them into acting. That's why I consider myself an activist, a global activist. And why am I here today is to try and activate your hearts and minds, the software between your ears. When I was asked to talk to young future leaders of this city and those having an impact, because Manchester is now an international city on a global stage, it wishes to be the second city and the first sporting city, as opposed to London, because Manchester is a great city. It has a lot of vibrance, it has a lot of energy. And what I want to share with you is some of that energy going back 20 years, but by way of the past, set into context the present challenges and opportunities of the one issue that I'm completely dedicated and committed to: the benefit and development of young people into realizing their potential for life through sport. And when I talk about sport, I'm talking about it in its broadest possible context: socially, culturally, economically. It's not about corporate social responsibility, it's about corporate social investment, time, energy, effort, and resources. So I'm going to take you on a journey. And all journeys, especially with work like this, require a personal passion, a personal motivation. How many of you did a session before you came here this morning? Fine. By the way, this is human interaction. You can either look, nod, chew, but you can be multitasking your approach. Because at the end of the day, I'm only using these as tools. What I want to do is engage the software between your ears, because 99% of it is genuinely between your ears. Mind strong, mindset, mind focused. So why am I here? As I've said, I'm asking you to hear, to see, to feel, and then possibly question at the end of hopefully 25 minutes of intensity. And I'll share with you now, on the basis of what I used to do, that was me, where people used to have to take me on. I am undoubtedly and still considered one of the most intense, dangerous, disciplined individuals you are likely to meet. Well, I would say that, wouldn't I? And if you're slightly still unnerved as to the stereotype, I have always said I am far better in here talking to you rather than outside waiting for you. Another nervous laugh, somewhat unnerving, but nonetheless considered. I am the personification of Sport for All, and I believe that Sport for All is a human right. It's not a negotiation, it's not an inclusion, it's not a special project or an initiative. Sport for All is a human right so that you have the educational, healthy, behavioural lifestyle choices that will develop the character, the resilience, the discipline, and the enthusiasm to realise your full potential. I was not a sporting protege. I was not talent ID'd as part of a world-class performance plan. I was born in Wolverhampton, and by the age of 7, my father died. And by the way, bad things will happen to you. It's how you overcome them, how you bounce back, how you get up by being knocked down, that will determine the extraordinary skills that you have, as long as you're prepared to find them. I was to discover them very young. I went from Wolverhampton with a funny accent to the East End of London, and I found that the colour of my skin was one challenge, but an accent from Wolverhampton was an even bigger challenge. So I learned very quickly. I had to develop 3 things: the ability to run fast, because I wasn't blessed with this height, so I was chased significantly. I always credit the National Front, now the BNP, for all that they did to me in the East End of London, because all negatives are positives if you're prepared to find them. If I hadn't developed the speed, run out of speed and puff, then realise that when you stand, you've got to be able to fight. So I needed to learn to defend myself. So I went to a leisure centre and I paid £1 and it changed my life. I walked past a door, there was a guy 5'5" disposing of 3 or 4 guys of 6'2", and I was engaged. It was cool. There was also the Bruce Lee era. Completely captivated me. Watched Enter the Dragon last night. Anyone watch Enter the Dragon? No, sorry. Word by word, but absolutely the importance of having icons that can engage, equip, and inspire you is what it's all about. So very quickly, I learned to defend myself, and karate became an emotional curriculum. It gave me all the emotional deficiencies by replacing negativity and self-doubt into confidence and a growing belief in myself, and being surrounded by a very unique group of individuals from all different walks of life. It's a mental, physical, and emotional literacy that can do so much for you. I discovered very quickly you could compete. My first competition was grievous bodily harm with rules. I didn't understand the Japanese language, so I did unto others before they did it unto me. That's what my mother said. She's the best coach, by the way, Violet. Incredibly extraordinary warrior. And I still couldn't beat her now, because she still has the software between my ears. So on that ability of discovering that I could test myself in an environment not too dissimilar to this, by the way, 8 meters square with another 1 meter surround, and this was it. This is where I did what I did. It's a very confined space. You've got to be able to have a complete and total discipline of what you're doing, a focus, an intensity, but a control. It's controlled aggression. My first British title was Manchester, British Karate Championships, and Manchester was to be the place where I came as a young teenager wanting to make my mark in the Great Britain squad. Moss Side was simply mentioned by the seniors because we couldn't go because we were the junior squad. Rite of passage. Always important to know the boundaries, knowing how you can work outside the box and be creative, but still work within the box and be disciplined. The journey moves on, and I was not supposed to go to the 1982 World Championships. I had a bit of a mouth on me, wanted to challenge the authority as to why we couldn't have tracksuits like the French, or as good as the French. Why couldn't we have to pay for our expenses? So I was always brought up to challenge and engage and ask questions. The answer I got was to be banned for a year. So I went to Sweden, learned about sport in its truest community, currency and benefit, came back, made the British squad, went to Taiwan, won 2 gold medals, turned the sport on its head. I was world heavyweight karate champion and uniquely led a Great Britain team that was to dominate world karate in the 80s over 4 world championships. I competed in 3, walked away on the 4th because by then I wanted a new challenge. By then, those medals gave me currency. If you win gold medals, you are entered into another space and another place. You're able to influence. At that time, Mrs. Thatcher thought sport for this unclean. I challenged her. There were some riots. I'd come from those communities. So I was put in a suit and tie, and I sat around a table of old farts, as Will Carling infamously identified them, and started to make a contribution of what sport for all should look like on the streets from which I'd come from. That saw me on the way to Hollywood, end up in Manchester, so worked that one out in the early 90s, and I ended up coming back to Manchester and becoming part of the Manchester 2000 Olympic bid. Because by now I'd gone into sports administration and sports politics, became a member of GB Sports Council, wondering what the hell I was doing there, but contributing a unique social cultural journey. By the way, as I finished karate, I wanted to run around in circles and go to the Olympic Games. Karate was not an Olympic sport. I ran around in circles for a while, got dizzy, got an injury, and then ended back in a suit and tie. Always stretch and push your boundaries. You're young enough, you're gifted enough, you're talented enough. Don't stay within that entrenched view that we can't, because we certainly can. In Monte Carlo, we presented. Linford Christie on the right, that's me, John Major, Princess Anne. And we presented what that Games would do for Manchester and for Britain. However, like most things in life, when you least expect it, you're challenged. And I was challenged. Because on the streets of Moss Side, a 14-year-old schoolboy was gunned down on the streets of that very community that I was aware of, and I knew of, and had heard so much about. His name was Benji Stanley. Not many of you will know him, but he was to inspire a movement that I will share with you now, and saw me go back on the streets. I'd been involved with Live Aid in '85 with Geldof's effort. The arts had done something immensely powerful, impactful. I decided sport could do the same. So we launched a youth charter. There was a royal charter. Why couldn't there be a youth charter? And it basically had 5 key themes: education, health, social and civil order, because you need an environment. We are a product of our environment that shapes that character, resilience and life potential, so that you're able to ultimately be employable. And that employability can mean anything. You can be entrepreneurial, it can be whatever you want to be, but there must be a social engagement and cultural engagement through sport and the arts, the ability to develop and be equipped with life skills and leadership and confidence, and then to be employable or entrepreneurial. Because the one thing I realized is that while sport and the arts could be a vaccine and an antidote, it could not be the treatment. It required a truly collaborative approach. during the time of the Manchester Olympic bid, it brought together various sectors from the private sector at least 4 times a year. So we would network, we would innovate and come up with ideas. And most of the leading lights of the Northwest business community helped the foundation of the Charter. Wembley, RecMan 93, you'll see the diverse range of representations that we had, but it all came together so that the Youth Charter would provide, in its mission aims, an opportunity for young people to develop in life.